Hi, this is Lori from Time to Be Creative. I'm working on a wedding album, and this video will show you how I'm going to put together the binding for the book. And so I'm using the system I learned from Jane. She's on Velocity Vet 08. She has a lot of tutorials on YouTube. And the system is really easy, and I really like it. So my book will measure 8.5 by 5 3/4. So I've cut my cardstock for my binding. I've cut one piece at just under 5 3/4 by 1.5 inches. That's this piece. And then a second piece at 2.5 inches by 5 3/4. And my third piece at 3.5 inches by 5 3/4. I'm using envelopes to create the album, so I just need one of each of these pieces. And you can see I've gone ahead and I've scored these cards 1/2 inch from each outside edge. And then I folded those with my bone folder. I'm using a little bit, I'm using the 110-pound cardstock. I find that the colored cardstock at 65 pounds is really a nice weight, and you can use that for your book bindings. But for some reason I think the white doesn't feel as heavy, and so I'm using the 110 on this. So you're just going to score 1/2 inch in on each side of these 3 pieces, and then use your bone folder and give them a good fold. And you can see I've marked where I need to put my score tape. So I'm going to start with my 1.5 inch piece, and I'm going to score these 2 top sections. Now I already have my envelopes trimmed. I'll show you those in a minute. Now on the back side of that piece, I'm going to need to score all of these sections. I generally like to use the 1/4 inch score tape. A lot of times the 1/2 inch gets too close to the fold line. So when you put that on, you're going to make sure you're going to give that a good burnish, a rub down. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same with my next piece. You want to do the 2 outside flaps inside and out, and then the bottom, because that's going to have to adhere to the next section. So I'm going to go ahead and score these as well. I've done a few wedding type albums, but it's a wallet kind of style. And this is going to be my first page wedding album. I'm going to kind of create it as I go along. I don't have too much mapped out. Now I'm going to switch over to a 1/2 inch tape here because I have such a wide area to cover on the back of this. And then I'm going to run my 1/4 inch down the center there. And again, you want to have a good seal with that tape. So you're going to give that a good press down with your bone folder. Now we're going to come in and do our last piece of the binding. This is going to be a 6-page book. I might put in a few smaller pages but they're also going to have the pockets, so there'll be plenty of room for photos and to store photos. I like this binding because it gives you room. With this system of binding, you get a lot of room, half-inch space to put embellishments, or if you want to add some treasures in the book, it gives you some dimension there to work with. And it's easy. The thing that I don't like about it is that if you want more than 6 pages, your book is really big and wide. So that's why I chose to just go with 6 pages. I think there'll be plenty of room for photos to be displayed and stored with the 6 pages. So that's what I'm going to do. Alright, so we got all of our score tape on. I'm going to give this last section a good press. And then we're going to put it together. So I'm going to take my top piece, the smallest, the 1.5 inches, and that's going to fit into that section of the 2.5 inch. And when I take off my tape, I like to line up my edges with my fold because it just fits in there perfectly. You want to get this on as straight as you can, and so you're going to take off the center section here of your score tape. And you want to line that up as straight as you can. And then again, give that a good press, because you want that to really adhere well. And then those 2 pieces fit inside your 3.5 inch piece. This is an easy system to use for any pocket type book you may be making. So I'm going to remove the score tape on the back of the 2.5 inch piece. And again, I'm going to use that outer wing there as my guide to laying down It's funny I can't talk and line that up at the same time. Okay, you're going to line that up, and again give that a good press. And there you have it. And that's the binding for my book. So now I have that ready to go. I have my envelopes ready. I sealed the back and I trimmed off the edges. And so what I'll do is come in and this is a wide book, so I need to just slip those in. And if you're having difficulty and it's a tight fit, which is what you want to come in and just take a little bit off of the corners of each. That'll help you slip that into your pages. I think I miscalculated how many pages I was doing. I'll blame that on the fact that I have a cold and I'm not thinking clearly. Okay, so I've got those trimmed. And that slides right in. You want to make sure you get those straight. So once you know that that fits, I usually just take off one side of my tape for the page and make sure I get that in there correctly. Having trouble here today. Do it this way. So I don't want to stick that down until I am sure I have it in the right spot. So once I get that where I want it, I'm going to press down and really burnish that edge. And then when I flip it over, I just come in here and sneak out that second piece. And then give that a good rub. We'll do one more. We'll do this other end. Doesn't really matter which way you have your envelope, because you're going to cover that with paper anyway. I always like to just make sure it fits before I take the tape off to try to avoid any mishaps. So again, I'm going to take off just the one side. And I'm going to slip that on. It really is easier than it looks. I don't know why I'm having difficulty today. Usually just slips in here. My envelopes are not real heavy, so there's not a lot of stability there to guide that on. I'm just really having a difficult time, and my hand is not big enough to hold it this way. Normally they just slip right on there. Okay, so I'm going to slide that on, line it up. You want to be just next to the fold, not on the fold. Press that down. I think some of the problem is where the envelope glued together, I've just got a little piece there. And then I'm going to come in here and take out that inside tape. Sometimes it's easy to grab it once you lift it up with just a pair of tweezers. And you're going to go ahead and give that a good press. So there are two of our pages. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these pages, and then my next video will start covering the pages, and I hope you'll join me for that video. Thanks for watching.